Right, this is Georgina, interview 16B, continuing. So you mentioned before about the banter and that it helped you forget things.
Yeah.
So I wondered if you could explain that a bit more again.
Okay. About banter, isn't it?
Well, do you like banter?
Yeah, I do like banters, I do like banters, and because it kind of like puts your mind off as well. It's like I take it as a way where it might be through banter, but it's kind of like a learning lesson for you. Because normally guys tend to do is like, you'll be out on the task, you do some mistake over there, and then you'll get all the scolding and all the harassments or whatever you can get at that time. And then once you're done with that, then someone will talk about it, and then someone will throw the banter, and then in a way it's kind of like you'll be learning through that as well. It's like, I think I should have done that, so I shouldn't have done that. Okay. And then in a way you're laughing as well, and then you're learning as well. And then someone might just shout out something, and then the other one just shout out something, and then you'll just keep quiet laughing, and then you'll just blurt out something as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I said, I mean, it just keeps your mind away as well. So through banters, it's a way to relieve stress as well from that task that you've just done, and
stop you thinking about horrible things. Yeah. And you mentioned as well that being away from your family. Could you talk a bit more about that? You said about how you're in the accommodation and
because like I told you before, I mean, my wife and kid, they are back in Nepal. I send them away over there to be with the family, and I've been moved in here, living in a single room. So I do tend to get the loneliness, the awkwardness, the silence that you can get living alone, and it's like a little box room as well. And so how I tend to throw away that stress is just like watching movies. And then if I do get bored, I do get in the car, go for a drive, and then come back in again. Because like I say, I mean, my friends, they are in the pads in here, but then it's not like
the Gurkhas.
The Gurkhas, yeah.
They're in the where? Sorry, what do they call it?
The family pads.
Pads. Okay,
yeah.
family pads. Yeah.
And because it's not like you can go there every weekend or something like that, isn't it? It's like, but then what the Gurkhas tend to do is like, we had 35 of us coming into the Gurkha engineers when we got enlisted, and because there's 35 of us, it's like one weekend would be at one home, then the next weekend will be at another home, so a whole lot will be over there with the family. But then because everyone's kind of like been transferred out, so some has gotten into the wider army, and some has transferred up into the logistics school, some's gone into the RIMI, so we've all been thrown everywhere around the country, and then there's only about 7 or 8 families left over here. So it's like sometimes I do go there, and if not, I'll be in the room speaking to my wife on the phone.
You mentioned that the Gurkhas have banter. Can you explain that in comparison to the British or the English banter or whatever?
The only major difference that's within the Gurkhas and the British banter is that we don't go into the families. So families in terms of your missus, your girlfriend, your wives, and then your immediate families. So we don't tend to do that. Whereas the British one is like everywhere. It's everywhere. Initially you do get the kind of like a shock when you do hear it. And I think I've heard about guys getting into fights just because of that. And what I tend to tell the younger generation of Gurkhas is like, you got to understand the jokes, the banter, the comedies that gets thrown to you, because you have to integrate with that, or get on with it, and then they will eventually know that what our culture is like as well. So they'll try to integrate. You try to integrate as well. That's how I tend to advise the younger blokes.
But you say now your friends avoid family stuff when they engage in banter with you.
Yeah, but within the Gurkhas we don't do that.
No. And what about like it seems like the British talk a lot about like sex and sexuality as well. Do you have that in the Gurkhas?
Yes.
So homosexuality as well, like.
Yes, yeah, like I said before. I mean, it's like because we always tend to think about what we are gonna do on next live.
Yeah.
And then the guys will be saying that, he's had made a lot of girlfriends whilst on leave, and then the other one says, he's been with another woman, he's been that and and then someone will just pop up and say, luckily it wasn't like my turn.
yeah.
So it's like it is a banter, but we're not trying to kind of like degrade them or make them worse or make them feel uneasy. We're just trying to like put in a little bit of a joke on it as well.
Do you work with any gay men?
Gay men? Not really, no. There was one, but I didn't know it, and he left the army, and then I think he got engaged to an English guy, so he's an ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah, so we didn't know he was a gay, but then the way he did behave like a gay. And when we tried to find out about it, it was like because he grew up with 6 or 7 elder sisters, and he was the youngest guy, youngest brother, or probably the only son in the family, and because he had been mixing around with his sisters, so that's why the way he behaves is kind of like a girly.
Yeah.
And then eventually we found out that he got out of the army, and then he got engaged to a guy.
Okay, yeah.
So it was pretty much of a shock to us, even though we knew that he did behave in a girly way.
So had you like used your banter with him, like, you're a girl and all this stuff?
No, we haven't, because I haven't met him since then.
No, beforehand.
No.
Before we got out.
No,
okay.
we didn't say that, but we used to tell his friends who were in the same intake as him.
Yeah.
So we would ask him, does he not behave like that? And then his friends would kind of like educate us.
Yeah.
Saying that no, because he grew up as the only son in the family, and then he has 6 or 7 elder sisters ahead of him, and that's probably why he's behaving like that. All right.
Yeah.
So we didn't really took it kind of like in a very bad way. So it could be one of the reasons. And then, but when he got out of the army, and then I think it was a year or 2 later that he got engaged to an English guy, and it was, what? He really is.
Is it more common for gay people to be accepted in the UK than it is in
Nepal?
Yeah.
It was very bad back in the days, but now I think they have kind of like tried to accept it now. So previously they wouldn't accept it, and and even the gays and the homos, they used to kind of like refrain from showing their identity, but now they are a bit more open about it.
Yeah. Would you still want to work in the army if there wasn't banter?
That would really depend, isn't it? I mean, if there's a way to relieve my stresses, and then if there's a way to talk out of my emotional problems or something like that, probably I just hang around with the army.
Yeah. But banter helps.
Banter helps to relieve stresses, bonds people together as well.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So. We talked about mental stresses and stuff in the mission area. So, in what ways do you think that the UN culture is going to be different to the British Army?
UN's cultures? I'm not really sure about that, because it would be a matter of getting deployed and then finding out their cultures over there.
Yeah.
So, basically, at the moment, what we've been told is that we will be going there as a British Army, but not acting like one. So because we'll have someone to be directing us, and then we're basically working under the UN. So we'll probably have to follow the directives.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, you've got one kid over there, and then you can't really help them, because that's the directive that the UN has given us, not to help them.
Yeah.
Because if we were to help one, there'll be thousands one. And then you are putting yourself at risk.